you've experienced marriage, divorce, relocation, losses, health issues, addictions, and reinvention. What do you see now in hindsight as kind of the through line or lesson in some of those transitions, or maybe even go so far as to say, the lesson of your life?
Gosh, I know I made a lot of mistakes. I think the best thing that I did when I married a man named David Banks, and he was sober, and we were married 26 years in sobriety. And so I was introduced to AA a long time ago. It is a very good organization. And I don't know if you'd call it that, but it's a good club to belong to. But when David passed, I went out and I drank for 10 years. And then um, I'm now married to a wonderful man, and he made me believe that I could be sober, and I am now. I'm sober, but it's thanks to being with good friends who believed in me. Um, if you have a drinking problem, it's a problem. It's not a fun thing. And I'm so grateful that I have a way to stay sober now. I'm 84 years old, remember? I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around here, but I promise you I'll be sober.
Well, I mean, considering you were able to play a teen to 30 and you don't look anywhere near 84 now, I think your genetics are favoring you for more years.
I
Uh,
think so. Thank you.
um, so when things got dark, like in stages of addiction, crisis, heartbreak, was there a moment or moments or insight that helped you begin to climb out, or was it the in both cases the men in your life?
Not necessarily the men in my life, but I crashed hard, and I believed that my life was in danger. And I got support from my friends, and as I can tell you now, my husband Michael, I'm married to now, has been so supportive. I just thank God that those people were in my life. But I don't know what else to give it to. God blessed me with the right people in my life. And now I keep it up. I've made a commitment to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I try to support other people who are trying to make that change in their life too, and make myself available. I try to go every day. In fact, this is the time of my meeting today. I'm committing to you.
Ooh. Well, I appreciate that in some ways, but I also respect the need to be there in others. Um, in what ways would you say surviving trauma or hardship has perhaps informed some of the roles you later took, or how you might approach a character's interior life? Has that had any effect on it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I just I try to, when somebody hands me a script and marks the part, and I read the part, and I try to figure out, is this a troubled person? I know what that's like, so I can portray that. Is this a good person? I'm a good person. I can portray that. I try to identify it with parts of my life. I have a wonderful family. Most of I'm the only one left anymore. But my family was so good. My father was an alcoholic. He died of alcoholism. And I will always miss him, because now that I know what I know about alcoholism, he could have been saved from, terrible tragedy. And I wish I had known. But no, I'm just so grateful to be alive and well. And I have made a promise to continue my sobriety at a day at a time. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So here I am today.
Well, your memoir is frank and honest, and I'd encourage everyone to get a copy if they want to know more about this era of Hollywood and, of course, your life. Did writing it change your relationship to your past at all, or did anything unexpected happen when you were writing it? Things that you realized that you hadn't realized before, or unexpected things happen when you released it to the world?
When I was first approached to write a memoir, I said, can't write a memoir. I barely got out of high school. They said, no, don't write a memoir. Tell the truth. Tell the truth about your life. Because they gave me the impression they thought I had an amazing life. Well, now looking back on it, I guess I did. But, you know, and I make a lot of mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Do the best you can. It's good to have support of your family, your friends, those closest to you. And I do have that now. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky with my life. I mean, I never thought, first, I didn't think I'd ever hit 80, let alone 84. But I take care of myself. I walk a mile and a half every day, get out and, you know, do my exercise. I sew every day. I'm at my sewing machine right now. This is what I'm making today. Can you see that?
Yes.
That's a front of a I call them beetle bags because Miss Beetle makes them, and they're with pictures of Little House on the Prairie on them, and that keeps me busy every day.
And I thought I read somewhere that's some of the proceeds go somewhere, right?
For to the local hospital for whatever they need for children, whatever they want to use it for is what I do. You know,
well, that's awesome.
I've always been supported.
You mentioned, okay, so you mentioned Twin Peaks earlier. I want to kind of get into that a little bit. Tell me about the night you first met David Lynch. What was your first impression?
My first impression, well, my roommate at the time, Doreen, was a volunteer at the American Film Institute. And she came home one day and she said, I'm working with a director and he's looking for an actress to, and she said, I told him my roommate's an actress, so I've invited him to dinner. So, dinner, David Lynch shows up with his wife, and I'm sorry, I can't remember her name because it didn't last very long. He shows up for dinner, and I open the door. There stands this guy, and he's got on a tweed jacket, 2 neckties, both tied up to a knot in front, a Panama hat that's just beat to crap, holes in it. And that was my first impression of David Lynch. And it didn't really change much, you know, because that's what he wore the whole time we were shooting. I don't know if he changed clothes. I really don't know. He seemed very comfortable in what he was, you know, wearing and doing, but he was so interesting. He always had a smile on his face. He was always laughing, and I never saw him get upset or, you know, nervous or stressed. And it took us, you know, over 1.5 years to do Eraserhead. I was there a long time. In fact, I started working I did the first episode what's all the family? Oh, before Little House on the Prairie, the Waltons. I did the first episode of the Waltons, and I'd been working all night because David Lynch only worked after midnight. So I'd been working all night long on Eraserhead, showed up at 6 a.m. at Paramount to do the Waltons. Completely zonked out of my head, not with drugs or anything, just with the stress and tired. And I made so many mistakes. They were so sweet. But that's how I, you know, got into the Waltons. That was a year before Little House on the Prairie. So